Doom. His image is on the television screen. He came right on in the middle of the race.
Doom? But...
You thought I was done for, eh? But you're wrong. I'm very much alive.
We can see that. What do you want?
It is my most prime desire to challenge the Fantastic Four to a duel to the finish.
Why, you hunk of iron now?
Quiet, Ben. Let's hear him out.
A good idea, Richard. Mark well the 3 predictions of Dr. Doom. First, I shall remove the heart of the Fantastic Four. Secondly, I remove your greatest strength. And my third and last, the strongest power will come.
What if one of Marvel's greatest minds, Victor Von Doom, became something far more monstrous? Today, we're diving into an alternate universe where Doom's ambition leads to a terrifying transformation. How does this unfold when power, ambition, and cosmic forces collide? This video was inspired by one of you in the community who requested a deep dive into this theory. A huge thanks to Magic Vlogs for sparking the idea. Let's dive in. At State University, Ben Grimm is teasing Reed Richards, nudging him about Sue Storm's feelings. Ben insists that Sue's interest in Reed goes beyond just helping him in the lab. Reed, cautious and reluctant, is worried about their age difference and the fact that Sue is responsible for her younger brother Johnny. But eventually, Ben convinces Reed, promising to look after Johnny so the two can spend time together. As they walk through campus, Ben's playful teasing shifts. Reed is focused on something else: Victor Von Doom. Reed knocks on Victor's dorm room door. The door is already slightly open. Something feels off. The room is empty, and Doom is nowhere to be found. Reed is worried. Victor has been skipping class, and he's come to check on him. Ben, ever the cynic, mocks Reed's concern, downplaying the severity of Victor's absence. Reed, always the one to see the potential in others, defends Victor, calling him a genius. Suddenly, Doom appears behind them, calling Ben a muscle-bound oaf for invading his space. The tension between Ben and Victor quickly escalates, but Reed intervenes, trying to defuse the situation. Unbeknownst to Reed, he's still holding Doom's notes, which only adds fuel to the fire. Doom's eyes narrow as he accuses Reed of theft. Reed, in his usual sharp-witted fashion, replies, "They were laying on your desk as easy to see as your miscalculated third differential." Doom, enraged by the comment, slams the door, vowing that no one would ever see him fail. Victor storms off, fuming at the incompetence surrounding him, cursing the so-called half-wits that populate the world around him. As he enters his lab, frustration only deepens. But after glancing at his notes, he begins to suspect that Reed's critique may have had some merit. Reed and Ben are walking across campus again. Reed, ever the optimist, tries to defend Victor, believing that there's still a chance for them to work together. Ben, however, is less forgiving. "Whatever Victor can do, you can do better," Ben smirks, saying, "I wouldn't take a bus across town with Victor, but I'd strap on a rocket and go across the galaxy with you, Reed." Before their conversation can continue, they're interrupted by an apologetic Victor. Calm and seemingly regretful, Doom tells them he wasn't thinking clearly earlier. Ben, being Ben, suggests amends should involve a juicy steak, but Doom, in typical fashion, prefers an exchange of ideas. Reed, eager to mend fences, accepts, and the two walk off together, deep in discussion. As they depart, Doom takes one last jab at Ben, commenting that their conversation could last quite some time. No need to bore Grimm with the details. 5 years have passed, and now a grand toast is being given in celebration of Reed and Victor's invention. This breakthrough in propulsion technology could make space travel as routine as flying across the country. But as Reed makes some final checks before launch, Sue approaches, questioning why Victor chose today for the launch. Reed dismisses her suspicions, pointing out that it has been years since they last saw Ben, who dropped out of college to join the army. But Sue, ever perceptive, isn't convinced. She reveals that Ben is now part of a unit responsible for securing an experiment on a new source of power. Still, Reed reassures her that everything is about to pay off. Besides, Reed adds, Ben always wanted us to go to space. As Sue exits the room, she softly whispers, "No, Ben would have wanted to go with you." In the corridor, Sue is startled by Victor, who tries to convey his feelings for her. But when Sue turns him down, Victor's frustration boils over. He questions what Reed could offer her that he couldn't. With his wealth and brilliance, Victor claims he could give her everything she ever wanted, making her his queen. But Sue sees through him. "You're the one who wants Reed chained to his lab, doing all the hard work. You might have the money, but that's about to change."
You smart. You loyal.
Victor, barely concealing his fury, ominously agrees with her, knowing that change is coming. Inside the Storm Rider, everything seems like a success. The team is ecstatic. Their experiment is working as planned, but as cosmic rays begin to bombard the ship, Reed reassures the crew. This was all expected. They had planned for this, but Victor had other plans. Much like Victor, you never know when big plans will unfold. Hit like and subscribe to stay ahead of the game. You wouldn't want to miss what's coming next. The Storm Rider blasts off into space, and for a moment, everything seems perfect. But as cosmic rays bombard the ship, Victor smirks. Reed assures the crew that the rays are expected, but Victor knew something Reed didn't. There was a flaw in the shielding. Doom had prepared a personal suit to protect himself, leaving the others to suffer the consequences. He reveals his plan. He will return to Earth a hero, claiming he tried to save them before crashing the ship in a massive explosion. From the wreckage, Reed, Sue, and Johnny crawl out, astonished to be alive. Johnny feels as if he's burning up. Sue begins to fade from view, and Reed's body stretches unnaturally. To their shock, Johnny bursts into flames, floating as he exclaims, "Help, I'm on fire. Wait, is it bad if it doesn't hurt?" Sue, fading from sight, watches in horror as Reed's arms stretch. Reed, confused, demands to know where Victor is. A scream echoes from the wreckage. It's Doom. His suit, meant to protect him, has instead concentrated the cosmic radiation, causing him unbearable pain. He begs for help. "Get it off of me!" Doom pleads, but Reed's malleable fingers can't remove the suit. His body is bursting through the armor, monstrous and twisted. He retreats into the shadows of the ship, warning the others to stay away. Despite Reed's pleas to return to the lab, Doom refuses, striking Reed with a backhand before launching them both into the air with his rocket pack. Victor is no longer interested in words. He tells Reed it's time to finish what the cosmic rays started, and for a bit of poetic justice, he can't resist getting an old friend involved, Ben Grimm. At a nearby military test site, Ben Grimm is being commended for his bravery by General Ross, having stopped a young boy from entering the dangerous grounds. Today, Ben is given the honor of authorizing the final go-ahead for an experiment on a gamma reactor, under the guidance of Dr. Bruce Banner. But as the reactor powers up, an unidentified object moves rapidly toward them. The reactor's containment wall is breached, and the chain reaction spirals out of control. Ben rushes onto the test site and is shocked to see Reed. Despite Reed's warning to leave, Ben refuses. As they flee, the reactor explodes, bombarding Ben with gamma energy. Reed, focused on helping Ben, is caught off guard as Doom suddenly strikes. Without warning, Doom unleashes his flamethrower, forcing Reed to abandon his efforts and defend against the attack. Flames engulf the space between them, with Doom's menacing presence looming over Reed's attempt to save his friend. Ben's eyes snap open, confusion clouding his mind as he sees Reed battling Doom. His breath quickens, and an unfamiliar surge of power courses through his veins. He feels his skin start to shift, turning a deep, unnatural green. His muscles swell, expanding rapidly as his body undergoes a violent transformation. Ben Grimm is gone. In his place, the Hulk emerges. Grimm hate Doom. Grimm clobber Doom. Ben swings, sending Doom flying through a rock face. The rage inside him builds, and with a thunderous roar, he springs into action. His massive, gamma-powered feet slams into the ground, shaking the entire battlefield. Doom barely has time to react before Ben's attack, his fury fully unleashed. Doom, always calculating, uses his rocket pack to evade Ben's furious strikes, positioning himself behind the towering green figure. Doom taunts as he attacks. "I can strategize an assault from behind, striking where you're vulnerable." With ruthless efficiency, Doom attacks, aiming for Ben's weak points to provoke him further. But Ben counters, slamming Doom into the ground. As Doom lies unconscious, Ben lifts a boulder, ready to end it all. But before he can, Reed steps in, trying to stop him. Enraged, Ben hurls the boulder at Reed, pinning him to the ground. Johnny, seeing his friend in danger, swoops in and shoots a stream of fire at Ben. The Hulk, further angered, tosses another boulder, sending Johnny crashing to the ground. As Reed and Sue rush to help Johnny, Ben attacks them next. But before he can land a blow, Sue instinctively constructs an invisible barrier, sending Ben hurling backward. As Ben picks up another boulder to crush Sue and Reed, Reed steps in, calming Ben with his words. "I know you're angry at me. You have every right to be. I turned my back on you once before, but not this time. I'm still your friend, Ben. I hope you're still mine. Ben hesitates. The rage slowly subsides. He reverts to his normal self, confused and shaken. He thinks it was all just a terrible dream, but Reed reassures him that it was all too real and all his fault, telling Ben, "I'll find a cure, Ben. I promise." Ben tells Reed he doesn't have to, that he doesn't want to drag Reed down, but Reed shakes his head. "You don't drag me down, you keep me grounded. You remind me what's important, something I can never repay." As they gather themselves, Johnny snickers. Speaking of payback, there goes Doom. On the hilltop, the four friends watch as Doom disappears into the distance. Reed, though victorious, feels the weight of the events that transpired. Reed doubts they have seen the last of Victor Von Doom, and says that, with all that power, look what he did to the people he cares about most. Sue, ever the optimist, says to Reed, "But think of all the good we can do. There's no telling what discoveries lie ahead." With hands joined, the four stand together, ready for what comes next. Reed looks at his companions, and with a sense of finality declares, "Well, I guess that settles it. From now on, we're..." What if this defeat wasn't the end for Dr. Doom, but just the beginning? In the aftermath of his transformation into the Thing, one line from Doom stands out. "I can strategize an assault from behind, striking where you're most vulnerable, attacking you over and over again." But what if this statement holds more truth than even Doom himself realizes? Doom, a figure defined by his ambition and hunger for power, thrives on exploiting the weaknesses of his enemies. He views vulnerability not as a temporary state, but as the perfect opportunity for domination. A philosophy that has echoed throughout his reign, across universes. Imagine the Parliament of Doom, a council of multiversal versions of Victor Von Doom, observing each Doom's journey through the sacred ritual known as the Nativity. This moment, the scarring of each Doom's face, is more than just a physical mark. It is a symbol of the weight he carries, a symbol of destiny. The origins of the Parliament of Doom trace back to Doom's alliance with the Future Foundation after the death of the Human Torch. In exchange for restoring his diminished intelligence, Doom helped Reed Richards and his team search for alternate versions of Reed across the multiverse. But Doom was soon kidnapped by Reed Alpha and brought to Latveria, where they rebuilt the Bridge, a device capable of traveling between realities. During a desperate battle with the Mad Celestials, Doom fought for Latveria, ultimately losing and seemingly dying. Yet Doom, ever the strategist, saw opportunity even in defeat. Awakening in the ruins of the interdimensional Council of Reeds, Doom discovered lobotomized versions of himself, alternate Dooms enslaved by the Reeds. Among the fallen Reeds, he found an infinity gauntlet. With the gauntlet in hand and the voices of his alternate selves chanting his name, Doom seized his new throne and began building the Parliament of Doom, uniting them under his will to reshape the multiverse in his image. In many ways, the scarring isn't just a turning point for Doom. It represents his commitment to his vision, the moment when the world, his world, no longer bends him, but becomes something he seeks to bend. But when this moment is interrupted, it's not Doom who's held responsible. The Parliament of Doom blames Reed Richards. Enraged by Reed's interference, the Parliament wages war, not just on Reed, but on his entire universe. They see this as an attack on their shared identity, a multiversal sacrilege. And in their retaliation, Doom as the Thing becomes their weapon, a monstrous force, now bent on tearing down everything Reed Richards stands for. But there's another path, a far darker one. What if instead of embracing this Doom, the Parliament sees him as an abomination, a failed version of their sacred tradition, an outsider, and casts him out? In this moment of rejection, Doom's vulnerability is exposed. Yet, for him, vulnerability has never been a weakness. Instead, it fuels his relentless ambition. And so, in his anger, Doom sets his sights on a new goal. Not only Reed Richards, but the Parliament of Doom and every version of Reed Richards across the multiverse. Doom is a master strategist, waiting patiently as Kang's multiversal war tears apart the very fabric of reality. In the chaos, Doom sees not ruin, but opportunity. With every universe vulnerable, Doom plans his revenge, fulfilling his promise of an assault from behind, attacking when and where his enemies are most vulnerable, the multiverse. This is the brilliance of Doom, his ability to see what others cannot, to wait, to strike, and to conquer when the moment is perfect. But now, the question remains, will this alliance of Dooms be the end for Reed Richards? Or will Doom's rejection lead to a war that reshapes the multiverse itself? But Doom isn't the only one whose choices reshape the universe. What happens when other cosmic forces, wielding unimaginable power, make their fateful decisions? In one universe, the Silver Surfer, Herald of Galactus, and Protector Protector of Worlds, wields the Infinity Gauntlet, granting him control over all reality. But with that kind of power, even the noblest of beings must face the question, can anyone truly be trusted with the fate of the universe? And in another universe, the Watcher, an all-seeing cosmic entity, is forced to cease his intervening, leaving the fates of countless lives and timelines to unfold without his guiding hand. But what are the consequences of inaction from one who watches over everything? The fabric of reality is fragile, and when beings of unimaginable power make their choices, whether to act or to remain silent, the consequences ripple across the universe. In these stories, those decisions will shape the very fate of all existence. Let's dive into the chaos that follows when cosmic forces tip the balance and rewrite the course of destiny.